Hey there, we're Talia and Ophira Edut, identical twins and astrologers. Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, where we bring the stars down to Earth. Hi everyone, it's Ophi with your January 13th to 19th weekly horoscope. And oh boy, 2025 has gotten off to quite a tough start. People are already asking for a refund from this year, and we're just in the middle of the first month. And we knew, this being a 9 universal year, which I talked about last week, that it's a time of big transitions and shifts. And we began the year with Mars retrograde, backing into Cancer, which rules homes and families and memories and safety. So that happened on January 6th. Mars has been retrograde already for a month, and it's been hard. A lot of people we know were sick over the holidays, and really for like 1-2 weeks. Mars is about vitality and life force energy. So a lot of people are having pneumonia and norovirus and RSV and flu, I think more than usual. We, barring the COVID seasons of prior years, it's just a lot of people are worn down. And, Mars is retrograde until February 23rd. We're in a 9 universal year. So this year is not off to the fastest start. But before I say anything else, I really want to send all of our love and empathy and sympathy to our friends and readers and loved ones, and even people we don't know, everyone in Los Angeles who is dealing with the aftermath of the fires that happened and having a scary week ahead with winds coming and not knowing if the fires are going to spread or be contained. I mean, it's the traumatic and just terrifying reality that so many people are living in right now does not escape our nonstop attention. I mean, we lived in Malibu for 2 months in 2021 while filming our reality show on the Pacific Coast Highway, and think of it as a second home. And that's hard enough. We're not sure if the place we lived is still standing, but that's not our primary home. And for people whose primary homes are, or their family homes or childhood neighborhoods are either destroyed or in jeopardy, we just want you to know we're with you. We know that this is just probably one of the hardest things you've ever gone through, and you may not know what to do from moment to moment. It's so scary. So just sending you all of our love and comfort and putting our full intention on the fires being contained and not causing any more damage to people's lives and homes. So, moving into this week's forecast, I know I sound a little more solemn than usual because it is, but we are starting this week on Monday, the 13th, with a full moon in Cancer, which is a sign of home and family and sentimental, caring, heartfelt connections. And for sure, those are the themes top of mind for so many people. The full moon is in close proximity to Mars retrograde. So we're dealing, with the full aftermath of the destruction of homes. As human beings, we need a sense of place. And the full moon in Cancer with Mars retrograde is really going to have a lot of people reflecting on that. Mars rules anger, and another branch of the insurance industry is really, really getting the ire of people. We had Luigi Mangione and the murder of the CEO of United Healthcare. That was health insurance, but now knowing that fire insurance places have canceled people's policies and the discrimination, class-based, race-based, it's socioeconomic-based, that is rampant in services, protection of homes, insurance. With Pluto now in Aquarius, power to the people era going until 2043. This is not going to be swept aside. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is one heck of an intense, chaotic week. Everything from the inauguration coming up, an entire new administration, which is not kind to California or the environment or anything. We don't know how they're going to handle the natural disaster. We've got a TikTok ban, and while that may seem superficial or frivolous to some people, I know, as a mom of a child who was suddenly yanked out of school in 4th grade for the pandemic, and she and her friends came to rely on TikTok for entertainment and connection and finding like-minded people. I feel like there are so many marginalized communities that use TikTok to find a voice, tell their stories, find compassion and empathy. There's, of course, just as much horrible hatred on there as there is what I'm talking about. But the loss of that, I feel, could bring financial and emotional and mental health and well-being issues for many people. There are so many creators, young people, Gen Z, even younger, who are financially empowered or supplementing their incomes in this wildly overpriced world on TikTok. So I don't think we really even realize the extent of what it would look like if that was taken away. And I do hope that we're able to find a way for security concerns to be addressed, because I'm someone who, as a young person, started a magazine with Tolly. We had a business when we were 21, a multicultural women's magazine called Hues that we started as a college project for representation for people who are not seen in the magazines typically that were on the newsstands in the early 90s. And I know that we were very lucky to have a bank actually believe in us and give us a loan so that we could publish this magazine nationally and change some people's lives for 7 years. So I am a big advocate of age ain't nothing but a number. Yes, you gain wisdom through life experience, but I love seeing the creativity and commerce and productivity and grit that so many people who would be potentially left out of the quote unquote business world were able to achieve on TikTok. So I hope that something new comes along if it does go away. Didn't expect I'd be making a pro TikTok kind of rant today, but it's just 2025 it really is the year of the divine pendulum. Well, the pendulum part anyway. The divine will reveal itself. I'm finding myself wanting to do a lot more work with crystals and intention setting. I haven't been in that space for a while, maybe a good couple of years. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get to my spiritual stuff later, but I'm really feeling a strong calling to do more rituals and mindful practices that I haven't felt in a long time, just intuitively. So I'm curious if you guys are feeling that way too, if you're noticing like, ooh, gotta I gotta batten down the spiritual protection hatches here. One of the things we said about 2025 was that consciousness is going to be expanding as fast as technology, or it's going to need to. So you always need both sides of the coin for balance. And I feel like as AI and all these tech billionaires are going to be moving into government positions or advisory roles, we're really going to need as people in the spiritual community, whatever that is, anyone who has sort of a spiritual bent or inclination that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in those energetic and invisible realms to counter the kind of quest for progress at the expense of humanity. I'm all for progress. I love technology. I love when it makes our lives easier, but when it hurts the planet and when it hurts humanity and it hurts our connections, which arguably, full circle, TikTok has done as much harm as it has good. But I think that 2025 is going to be a year when we try to figure out how all of those things can coexist. And with Meta announcing it's not going to do fact checking, there's going to be a lot of disinformation ahead. It's going to be a wild year, one unlike any we've ever had. We just did our 2025 Planet by the Planets webinar earlier today, and that was something that came along with a copy of our 2025 horoscope books and planners. If you haven't gotten yours yet, you can get access to the recording of it. We walked people through how every sign can really use these major planetary trends. And I'm going to advise to really start prepping for March 2025. We've got Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, and eclipse season. That is going to be a really cosmically loaded month. So whatever kind of getting your nervous system and your spiritual receptors really honed and just taking really good care of yourself just to fill up for the changes that can happen then. So listen, we love to give positive podcasts, and I, as a Sagittarius, hate to even have to talk about this stuff. I want to use astrology to give everybody hope, and I certainly will be. But false hope, no. I think we need to deal powerfully with reality as well. So the reality is that this Monday begins with a full moon in Cancer, and full moons can be intense moments, especially in the emotional sign of Cancer. I think we're going to see, the people of LA, it's been a few days. The shock is kind of wearing off, and it's going to really, really give way to anger and pain being expressed this week, as it has every right to be. So we also have on Monday, the sun is trine Uranus in earth signs. So that can be an intense weather system, but it can also be a time when someone steps in with the right leadership. So I really hope that someone just takes charge and makes some solutions. Uranus is innovation. I don't know what solutions and innovations are possible to stop this fast-moving fire, but it could be something that we see on Monday. So, and it could also just be people coming together and stepping into their own leadership all over the place. Uranus is humanitarian. So just obviously I'm hyper focusing on California because for reasons I don't need to explain, but everywhere in every community, we still have disaster recovery with a long way to go in Asheville, North Carolina, for example. So who will step up this week in the last week of the Biden presidency? It's a time to really ground yourself because things could feel more chaotic than ever. Now on Tuesday, the 14th, we have Venus and Jupiter in a square. Venus and Jupiter are called the benefics. That means they're the most positive and helpful planets. So a square is a 90-degree angle of tension. Even in a square, they don't lose their positivity, but they are in dual signs. Venus is in Pisces, Jupiter is in Gemini, and Pisces is the two fish swimming in opposite directions. Gemini is the twins. And, People can be fickle in love, particularly, or friendships. It might be a week where you're like, there's going to be a lot of emotions with the Cancer full moon on Monday. And then with this Venus Jupiter square, you might feel like people are talking out of both sides of their mouth, or you don't really know who's a friend and who's a fair weather friend. So who's showing up for you in those times of need, and how clearly are you asking for what you need as well? With Jupiter in Gemini and Venus in sacrificial Pisces, we may need to just be a little more blunt about what we do and don't need. So if someone wants to give you something, but it's not something that you want to receive, finding a way to politely express that. Or if someone owes you something and you haven't wanted to ask for it because you haven't wanted to create conflict, or, if you've been walking on eggshells or tiptoeing around someone, this is definitely a week to just ask for what you need. Swallow your pride and know that you have a right to ask for that. You should not have to make sacrifices or have an uneven give and take in your relationships. And more intense emotions and anger could be ahead on Wednesday, the 15th. This is pissed off week. This is the week of suppressed emotions, bottled up emotions coming out. It could come out as a primal scream. It could come out as a fight. It could come out as an ugly cry. It might be when, the shock wears off and you just have to let it out. And if you've been sick and just not having your usual energy, this is a week to really do something about it too. You're going to be sick of being sick and want your vitality back. So on Wednesday, the 15th, when the Sun in Capricorn is opposite Mars retrograde in Cancer, that's a day to really go to the doctor if you haven't, but also look at what is draining your energy, what gives you vitality, and what takes it away. So the Mars retrograde in Cancer is Mars is in its most weakened state in Cancer already. And it's going to be there until April 18th, but retrograde till February 23rd. So while retrograde, it's even weaker. So, manage your emotional outflow as well, because getting angry or getting upset and just, spewing your energy will definitely leave you drained. And also excessive caretaking you want to watch out for too. If you have someone around you who's in need or sick or emotionally needy in some way, boundaries are not a strong suit of this week's stars, even though we're in Capricorn season, the end of Capricorn season. So know your limits and know it's okay to have limits. The Sun opposite Mars will show you where some of your limits are. And if you've gone past your limits with people with giving and you're feeling resentful and angry, it's advised not to lash out at the person that you're feeling drained by, but really just have a mature conversation about your capacity. And let me highlight that word, because that word has come up so many times. It seems like it's already the word of 2025, capacity. Things have gone beyond their capacity. And that is showing up big time. I got, last week, New York City announced it was doing this thing called congestion pricing, where people driving into the city who are already paying $15 to drive over a bridge and get into the city are now being dinged $9 to come into the city and $9 to go out of the city, because it's supposed to be collecting money to fix the subway system, which does not receive federal funding. And I think that's just a bunch of BS, frankly. And I just it's like one of those things that I'm sharing it because it feels like such a this week kind of thing. Like, all right, $9. I practically spend that on coffee. I'm ashamed to admit, but I do have 2 shots of espresso in there and fancy nut milk, if that makes it any better. I know this is such a 1%-ish problem, but it's just the principle of like, it's not me. I've got the $9 at the moment, but people who are trying to work hard, they're working at their capacity and probably way beyond it, and they have to shoulder the burden of paying $9 just to come in and work and under earn and overpay. And the rents in the cities are crazy, and the grocery prices are crazy, and we are all stretched beyond capacity. Not all, but the majority of people are. And then that gets front loaded on in 2025. And it's just, eh. It felt like, when you just are like, that's it. I quit. I'm out of here. I give up on New York City, or I'm leaving this joint. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's how I felt for a minute. And that is kind of how the sun opposite Mars retrograde can make people feel, or the full moon in Cancer, just like, I'm done here. So I'm sorry if that sounded privileged and ridiculous, because I know people have much bigger problems than that. But human beings also, we're going through our day, we're trying to do our best. And when something is unfair and unjust, it pisses us off. And you're going to become really aware of those things this week, especially midweek. So first half of the week is devoted to, I'm thinking about Sesame Street. It's sponsored by the letter A for anger. Okay, so that's just how it is. 2025 is just not a rockin' start. I've noticed a trend of, a lot of people just either got sick over the holidays or just kind of had a, as we predicted on the podcast, kind of a somber, silent night for New Year's Eve. Didn't do a whole lot. And then a trend of people really just not even having it in themselves to take down the Christmas decorations, like full candy cane, reindeer, nativity, Santa Claus scenes, just still up, because we are not really ready to deal with quote unquote reality and what's ahead, and feeling like whatever symbols of joy and, make believe and wonder and everything that the Christmas fantasy stands for, like, we are hanging on to that in the new year. So I know it's going to get better. It's the year of the divine pendulum. I guess it has to pull back kind of like a slingshot before it can move ahead. But, speaking of pendulums, we just we have our crystal of the year, lepidolite, and we've teamed up with Energy Muse Crystals. We'll be sending out, if you're not on our mailing list, join. We're going to send out a link to get your lepidolite crystal for the year ahead and really get that protection. If you're a crystal person, that's the one that we picked to match with the year ahead. We also picked the High Priestess Tarot card for 2025, just really symbolizing what I've been feeling already, just that turn inward, slow down, pause. Not everything is measured and manifested by doing and going into the external world. It's really equally important to stay in tune with the voice within. So finding some high priestess energy would be really good for us. And Saturday, January 18th is probably a good day to find it, along with a lepidolite crystal or any crystal, because Venus in Pisces is going to be conjunct together with Saturn. Saturn is about structure and adulting and maturity and restraint. So luckily, a little bit of restraint on some of that watery emotion going on So it's if you've been wearing the rose-colored glasses about someone, or worse, getting strung along, are they or aren't they? Venus and Saturn is kind of like a sobering look at, like, is this really what I want? Is this really enough? Don't I deserve better? Or is this going in the direction? Am I biting off more than I can chew? I have a friend who recently started dating someone who didn't reveal that when they first started dating for the first month, that she had a child, and then that she also had some medical and mental health issues. And it's everyone's right to share what they do or don't. But, they started dating and hooking up, and then he found out about it. And I think that this Venus-Saturn conjunction is a time when, it's more so like, how much of that is going to be his responsibility, and how much does she have managed? So that that's just an example, of when we meet people in this day and age, they have their lives. You can call it baggage, or you can just call it, they have their life stuff. Everybody does. He has plenty of his own too. How do we decide and evaluate how far and how much to get involved, how much to take on? What is ours? What is theirs? How do we know? How do we evaluate that? And, because, yeah, some people say you trade one bag for another. If you want to be in a relationship with somebody, you have to take all of it. And I agree with that. But in our relationships, how much are the people that we are dealing with taking true ownership and accountability for things that are struggles and issues for them? Meaning, doesn't mean that they can't ask for our help or support, but are they expecting us? And I'm saying that to you because if you're listening to this, you're probably more likely to be the empath and the caretaker and the overfunctioner and the one who is really carrying the load for yourself and someone else, more so than, kind of the person who plays helpless and wants to be taken care of. So I think those are the issues that may come up. I'm trying to be really sensitive in everything I'm saying today, which is very much in line with this week's all the Pisces and Cancer and water and the stars right now. Like, I certainly hope as a Sagittarius I'm not offending anyone, but these are real issues that are happening, and real emotions and real things that people talk about to us, our clients, our readers, and don't know how to handle. And everybody wants to be nice and be a good person. But we've also, I think, gotten to this point where nice and good have come to mean not being nice and good to ourselves because we're trying so hard to be that way for someone else. So finding that balance, once again, the year of the divine pendulum, that pendulum has to swing both ways. It has to create balance. Pendulums were used, if you have our 2025 horoscope book and you read our intro, pendulums have been used for measurement, for pyramids and great structures in mathematics. They're not just pretty spinning crystals that you use for, divining. They really are about making sure the structural integrity, which is Saturn, is fully functioning and in place. Those things that are not balance and in integrity are going to show up in the year of the divine pendulum, and they're going to have to be addressed. So that brings me to the last transit of the weekend. On Sunday, the sun moves out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, and we begin Aquarius season. So Aquarius is about the people. It is about justice and community and coming together and progress and all for one, one for all, and all of the things that we really need a lot of right now in this world. We're rolling into that in a very interesting way with Pluto also in Aquarius too. in an early degree. So we're going to feel that at the beginning of Aquarius season, all these power shifts, all of the kind of shadow side of everything, the shadow side of groupthink, the shadow side of politics, the shadow side of even leaning too heavily on the people, the disparity between where communities are overloaded beyond capacity and asked to shoulder the burden of things. Those are going to be some of the things that we're dealing with in early Aquarius season. And then, we're going to move into the Lunar New Year. This is the end of the year of the dragon. Dragon years are tough. They are supposed to be years of births and deaths and major transitions and changes. So it's a powerful one, but the last dragon year we had 2012, 2000. Now we're moving into the snake year, the wood snake. We had snake years in 2001 and 2013. So we're moving into those again. And if you're someone who's born in 1965, you'll be having your 60th birthday, your golden birthday, believed to be really your first birthday, because it's the first time. It takes 60 years for the element of wood and the lunar animal of the snake to occur simultaneously again. Keep listening, and we are going to be soon reopening or officially opening our Become Your Own Astrologer course. We had an early access opening, and we will be opening it to everyone at the end of January. So it's our 8-week astrology course, certification, incredible course. We're doing it for our second year, and we welcomed some of our first students in for early access. So if you're not on our mailing list, make sure you get on it. I will leave a link below, and at astrostyle.com, you can join our list and make sure that you hear about that too. If you want to learn how to read birth charts, if that's on your goals list, learning how to not just read birth charts, but understand predictive astrology and transits and compatibility, and really know how to have astrology as a tool. You love reading horoscopes, you read hours, but you want to know how to do it yourself too. If you are one of those people, then this once a year course was designed for you. Absolute beginners to pros are welcome. It really is for all of us. So in the meantime, make sure you grab your 2025 horoscope book or planner. We have our bundles and deals are about to end. I feel like there are a few different waves of people around the new year. There are the Uber planners who buy their calendars in September and October and like to get that early start and be ready to dive right in. And then there are the people that, right before the new year get their planners. And then there are the people who are probably a little more like me, honestly, are like, I'm not really ready to deal with this new year until a couple weeks in. I can't deal with all the pressure. When everybody else is done talking about it, that's when I'm going to just go into 2025, go into the new year. So if you're one of those people, one of my people, we still have our bundles and, special offers for a little bit longer. So grab your 2025 horoscope book or planner. You can get the big book for all 12 signs or one for your individual sign. We have it as digital PDF or paperback, and you will get a recording of our Planet by the Planets webinar from today. Sorry that you missed it live, but you'll still get access to the replay recording and the digital calendar populator that'll put all the most important dates of the year right into your Google Calendar or iCal, and you'll have them always right there alerting you, and you will be ready to meet this intense and crazy year with the best galactic guidance you can have. So once again, sending out prayers and love to California. I wish I could do more than just that. But I am hoping that by the time we record next week, that we will have much better news. We will see you in Aquarius season, and take care.
As always, thanks for listening. You can discover more of your star power at astrocell.com, and be sure to follow us on social at AstroTwins. Join us next time for more cosmic fun.